Alrighty, so this should be on. Let me refresh just to make sure that let's go. One more time. This is the fun thing about Facebook Live is if you do it on your personal profile, you can then share it with groups you own. So I'll be sharing this with a couple of my groups too. But in general, I want people in Facebook just to be exposed, especially some of my friends. So we are live here on Facebook, and I'm super excited to have Eric Lofholm. This guy is a world-class, I'm not joking, he's a world-class sales trainer, considered a master sales trainer. So you know what that means when you either meet him in person or you see him online, you give him a bow. Master. The Mr. Miyagi sensei of sales. And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask one question, one burning question that I have, but then I think a lot of people might have too. And then we'll just let Eric school us on that. Cool? I appreciate you, Eric. Thank you, man. So, do you believe that we all have some kind of sales inherent in our DNA within us that we can extract, or do you think we don't?
Yeah, I think about it a little bit. And let me turn my, let's see here. There we go. I think about a little bit different for how to answer that question. So I learned how to type back when I was in 7th and 8th grade, and anybody can learn how to type. So selling is like typing. It's a skill set that anybody can learn. Now, it's true some people are born more persuasive than others. But the reality is anybody can learn the art and science of selling with proper coaching and proper training.
So anyone can learn it, and can, even if they're so fearful, or you mean anybody can learn this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a skill set that anybody can learn.
What would you say about the people that are just naturally extroverted? Like they used to be popular in high school, and they're the ones that are outgoing in college. Those guys, does it come naturally to them?
Yeah, I think it comes naturally to them, and that level of persuasion can be a strength. Sometimes, though, a strength can be a weakness. And so somebody who's naturally persuasive, they may not work on their sales game at the level that somebody else would have to. Like, for example, myself, I struggled in sales. I didn't get good at sales until I was professionally trained. Had sales come naturally to me, I probably never would have really worked at it. Well, because I struggled with it, I really worked at it to the point where now I've achieved a mastery level of it. There's a structure to delivering an effective presentation. Selling is simply a style of communication that increases the likelihood that the other person says yes. So if you want to get more yeses personally and professionally, then you want to learn the art and science of selling.
Got it. So that's great, because then it levels the playing field for the person that was shy in high school, and then now they're stuck in a sales position. They're fearful, but with specific resources, you're saying they can go in and close deals, pretty big deals too.
Yeah, absolutely. And, people end up in sales for a variety of reasons. Maybe somebody has a passion to start their own business, and now they have to go out and make the sales for their own business. So they don't have a traditional sales position, but they're needing to get yeses. Or maybe somebody wants to grow a business and they want to do joint ventures or strategic alliances, or maybe they want to get somebody to come on like your show right now that we're doing this Facebook Live. So you are reaching out to me to get me to say yes to that. Or maybe it's somebody who's single and they want to have that soulmate. They want to have that committed relationship. And so these are all reasons to learn how to get yeses and make your life more enhanced and more enriched.
And this is what you talk about often in a lot of your trainings.
Yeah, I teach people step-by-step how to do it. I'm a systems guy. So I like having a step-by-step system that I can follow. So I teach 3 key systems to grow any business: lead generation, appointment setting, lead conversion. So if I'm working with somebody in sales or a small business owner, I want to know, how are you generating leads online and offline? How are you setting appointments with those leads? And then how are you converting those leads? And a big part of my philosophy is to dissect. So we break it down into smaller steps. Think of it like this. A chain is as strong as its weakest link. And so if you strengthen each link in the chain, it makes the strength of the chain stronger. And so this is what I teach people how to do in selling. So it's not overwhelming. They can break it down step by step.
Right. And I think you said something that really resonated to me is having people get the yes, right? Whether it's in a transactional business pitch or a relationship, right? Or even with your kids, it's them selling to get the child to say yes to the broccoli.
Yeah, like let's just say I wanted to have lunch with you. And so I wanted to increase the likelihood that you accepted my lunch invitation. So I could reach out and I could say, hey, Rob, are you free for lunch this week? I'd love to have lunch and I'm buying. If I add in I'm buying, then it's going to increase the likelihood that you say yes. Now, I don't have to say I'm buying to get you to say yes, but it's going to increase the likelihood that I say yes. Now, I can take it a step further and I can say, I'd love to have lunch with you this week. You picked your favorite restaurant in the area and I'm buying. I can take it a step further and say, hey, Rob, I'd love to have lunch with you this week and I'd like to do something really fun and special. So you pick your favorite restaurant. I'm going to actually send a limo to come pick you up and I'm buying. Okay. Now you can see in those scenarios, each level that I up the game increases the likelihood that you say yes. I can take it a step further and say, hey, I'd love to have lunch with you. I'm going to send you in the limo, the favorite restaurant I'm buying, and I'm going to bring you a $250 gift certificate to Target that you can get anything you want. That's my gift to you just for having lunch with me. So there's things that we can do that increase the yes. Now, we can't always send the limo or give the $250 Target card, but if we just use our imagination, there's many things we can do that don't cost anything. And so that's what I teach people. And at the end of the day, anybody can learn this.
That's probably one of the most reassuring statements that anybody can say to an entrepreneur is anybody can learn sales. And one of the unfortunate things about our education system is, learning biology and, all that stuff is great, but maybe you can teach them that they can learn how to sell, be persuasive. Right, I think that's really, really key. So I think that's one of the strongest statements that can be said and promoted is anybody can learn how to sell. That's huge. Yeah,
and a lot of people, they have resistance to sales, so they don't even seek out somebody like myself in the first place because they don't think it's possible. And once you discover it's possible, right, and then you find somebody like myself that's, my gifting, it's not really sales. My gifting is teaching. I happen to teach sales. So if somebody wanted to learn selling, I'm like a sales tutor, if you will. And I help people demystify the sales process. And then the skill set gets transferred over, just like when I learned how to type back in 7th and 8th grade. I don't have to go back to typing class because the skill set got transferred over. So I demystify the sales process, teach people step by step how to do it, and then they can apply it in any area of their life.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. I wish somebody told me that while I was growing up. That you should find somebody who can teach you. That's huge. Yeah, I appreciate that. Last comment on that is if you have 10 minutes to sell, right? You're given a super hot lead and then you have 10 minutes to sell. What would be your biggest advice to that person when they're on the clock?
Yeah, so the advice is the same whether you have 10 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or 2 hours. And the advice is stage selling. And stage selling means you sell the prospect to the next step. So if I have 10 minutes with somebody, I have to think, what can I accomplish in these 10 minutes? And for example, I'm not going to sell a $100,000 sales training contract to come in and re-engineer a sales process for an entire company. I'm not going to be able to make that sale, close that sale in 10 minutes. But I can sell them to the next step. I can say, listen, I've got some really unique ideas that I believe could increase your company's sales results 20 to 30% over the next 6 to 12 months. Today, we only have 10 minutes. So I want to share a couple concepts with you. If you like what you hear, I'd like to then schedule another appointment where we can talk more in depth about how I can help you. So what I would do is I just sell them to that next step, whatever that next step would be. And I could sell a next step for a big, sales training contract in 10 minutes, no problem.
When you get to that stage of the process.
Yeah. Exactly. Think of it like this, dating. So when I met my wife, we went out for the very first time when we met, we went out to dinner. And then it's like, oh, I had a great time. Would you like to go out again? So we went out again. We had a great time. Would you like to go out again? And then eventually we became exclusive. That was the next step in this. That was the next stage. Then the next stage was months later, I proposed to her. And then down the road, then we got married. And so business has a flow to it, just like a relationship. And so you just sell them to that next step or that next stage, wherever you're at in the process. And it's very powerful if you like, don't try to do too much too soon, because it just doesn't work. There's a timing to influence. There's a timing to trust and rapport. And if you follow that proper sequencing, it really increases the likelihood that you get a yes.
Boy, that sounds really strategic. That's pretty good.
It's very strategic, and it's very simple, but it's not intuitive. So if I give you a bike lock and I say, open up the bike lock, you can't do it. But if they give you the combination, you do it on the very first try. So opening up a bike lock is easy, but it's not intuitive. Right. Unless you're in sales, selling is easy, but it's not intuitive unless you're naturally born sales superstar, which I wasn't. So once I got trained, then I got really, really good. So somebody could be watching this right now and they think they suck at sales, but with proper training, you might be outstanding at sales.
Right, and that's going to be the real difference in your bottom line, really.
Absolutely. Especially if you're like buying leads, or maybe you're not buying them, but you're going to a networking event to get the leads, or even if you're cold calling, you're sweat equity, you're putting effort out. You're either putting time or money out to get those leads. If you can up your close ratio, it makes a significant difference in your profitability. And there's all kinds of things that we can do to accelerate profitability in the company. And the good news for everybody, you can learn any of these techniques. All of this is learned. And if you're not a naturally born sales superstar, there's hope for you. Just find an expert like myself that you resonate with, and you can get the proper training that you need.
Awesome. Where can we send them to find some more information? You have a resource, right? Where they can get some.
Yeah, a couple different things. Free resources on a website. The website is www.freesalestrainingvideos.com. Freesalestrainingvideos.com. Or just Google me. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook. Like you and I, we connect quite a bit over Facebook when we need to connect with each other. So find me on social media, or go get those videos on that website.
Well, I'm just dropping it here in the comments right now. Perfect. Okay, they can go there. Yeah, so you heard Eric. Reach out to him on Facebook. He's got the website. And definitely on Facebook, he's super active. You can jump on his webinars. What you'll notice is he's on a lot of other people's webinars too, because they ask him to do trainings for their group. So follow this guy. It'll make a big difference. And if you get a chance, when you get a chance to join this program, I definitely recommend it highly. Eric, you're a superstar, man. I appreciate you a whole lot. Thanks for doing this.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, see ya.